Alright, what's going on, dudes, and welcome to the first episode of the new survival series, Ultra Modded Survival.
Hello, this is Stampy Longnose, and welcome to a new Let's Play of the Xbox 360 edition of Minecraft.
Hey everyone, Dan here from the Diamond Minecraft, and welcome to another Minecraft video, where today things are a little bit different.
Imagine you were 10 years old again. You're on Minecraft on your Xbox 360. You have your cousins over or your friends. You get on some split screen. You just plan to build whatever or do whatever. You know, the game is simple. You don't have to worry about beating the game or getting enchantments or whatever it is. You're just playing to build and have fun and do whatever. You know, I bet we all wish we could go back to a simpler time in life. And that's really where nostalgia for games comes from, is just wanting to be young again, to go back to a simple time, to a simple game that you enjoyed when you were a kid. You know, whether it's Minecraft or Call of Duty or any other game, you just want to go back to the original state of the game where you were young. You know, don't get me wrong, Minecraft has a lot of good things now that the game needed. You know, like the Nether update or the End update, whatever it is, new biomes, new mobs. But there's something about just loading into a world that had a few biomes, a few ores, no netherite. You just wanted to get diamonds and build. You know, whether you were building a castle with your cousins or you wanted to make your own survival games map, you know, that's what we used to do before Xbox 360 edition eventually got the minigame update where there was the spleef or the survival games, whatever. We used to make our own, you know, just load in on a tutorial map since it was already all built, it had houses and everything, and put random chests everywhere of items. And we just play the same game over and over again. Even though we knew where all the items were, the best items, we'd play it over and over again. And that was before the mini games came out. You know, that was the things we used to do as a kid. We're just loading into a creative world, building a massive diamond and gold and emerald house for no reason, just building a mansion in creative mode. You know, because those things as a kid were fun, and those are things you wish you can go back to. You know, Minecraft felt new, everything felt big. It was such a smaller game back then, but it was so big at the same time. Every world has its own memories. Every world you made, whether you played on them for a few days or it's a world that you kept going on forever, every world had its own entire universe, entire memories dedicated to it. You know, I bet everyone can kind of remember their first time playing Minecraft. You know, you load into survival mode, you don't really know what you're doing. You load in the game, start punching some wood, getting some items, then night rolls around, you don't have a house yet, build a little dirt hut, and that's how the game was, you know? You built whatever. It didn't really matter. There was no goal of the game. You know, there was always mysteries we believed in, whether it was Herobrine or going to the moon. You know, we really thought we could go to the moon on the Minecraft 360 edition, or the Aether dimension with the glowstone portal in the water. You know, there was things, we were kids and we were young and gullible and we believed them. And you know, that's just not the same today. You know, do you wish you can go back and believe in something like that was just obviously not true, but we wanted to make it true so bad? So we built 1,000 different portals, 1,000 different ways to try to get to the moon. Even though nothing ever worked, we would still try it 1,000 more times. You always had that one world where you swear you saw Herobrine. You know, you thought Herobrine was real. You believed it. You believed everything. You believed every video you watched. You wanted to find him. You built Herobrine spawners. The little gold pillars with the netherrack, and then the redstone torches around it. You wanted him to spawn in so bad. You wanted to see him. You watched so many videos on how to spawn him in. Nothing ever happened, but you swear on this one world you saw him. You saw something weird. You saw something that wasn't supposed to be there. We all had memories like that. I had a ton of them. There was multiple times I swear world was haunted by Herobrine. There was times where it was a glitch, of course. Now I know that, but on the map, on 360, you used to load in with the map automatically in your inventory. And I was playing with my cousins and my brother, and it showed an extra player on the map. It's things like that, probably close to 10 years ago, and I still remember it. I like the new textures on blocks. They're great. A lot of them were needed, like netherrack. The old one didn't look that great. But when you see the old one, you see the old textures of ores or the nether or whatever, you miss it. I wish it was like that again. The old sounds of Minecraft, everything, the old music, you miss it all. The new music is great, but nothing will compare to the OG Minecraft music. Just be glad you have these memories, with your friends, with your brothers, with your cousins, whatever it is. Be glad you had these memories. We talk about it all the time, me and my friends. We talk about it all the time, talk about all the memories we had on Minecraft. Nostalgia is really a beautiful thing. It's my favorite thing to reminisce about old times. I wouldn't say it's very healthy. It can make you a little sad because it's over. You're not young again. You have things to worry about now. You're not a simple kid who can just hop on his Xbox and play. And that's the main thing I think we all miss, is just being young and not having to worry about anything.